I should have known something was wrong when Claire showed up at my bachelorette party with that particular smile, the one that never quite reached her eyes. But I'm getting ahead of myself. My name is Olivia, and for 27 years, I believed my older sister was my best friend. In Westchester, where we grew up among manicured lawns and country club brunches, Claire was the golden child, sharp, polished, always 3 steps ahead. I was the dreamer, the art teacher who somehow stumbled into happiness without trying. At least that's what everyone said. What they didn't say, what I never saw, was that my sister had been destroying my life piece by piece since we were teenagers. It started small, I think. Things I dismissed as bad luck or my own mistakes. The college acceptance letter that never arrived, Claire swore she'd mailed it. The boyfriend who ghosted me after she'd accidentally told him I wasn't serious about relationships. The job interview where I arrived an hour late because she'd given me the wrong time. Little fractures in what should have been a charmed life. "You're so lucky everything comes easy to you," Claire would say, squeezing my hand with just a bit too much pressure. "Some of us have to work for it." I always laughed it off. Claire was brilliant, a marketing executive with a corner office by 26. If anyone worked hard, it was her. I just taught art to middle schoolers and painted on weekends. What did I have to complain about? Then I met Ethan. He was an architect, all passion and vision, sketching building designs on napkins during our first coffee date. He saw beauty in structures the way I saw it in colors. Within 3 months, I was in love. Within 6, he'd proposed on a beach in Montauk, the sunset painting the sky in shades I'd never be able to recreate. I called Claire first before even posting on social media. "I'm engaged," I'd shouted into the phone, breathless with joy. There was a pause, just a heartbeat. Then, "Oh, Liv, that's wonderful. I'm so happy for you." But I'd heard something in that pause, something cold. "You don't sound happy," I said, my excitement dimming. No, I am. I'm at work. Can I call you back? We'll celebrate properly this weekend." We did celebrate. Claire took me to our favorite wine bar, toasted my engagement, asked all the right questions about venues and dresses. She even volunteered to help plan the bachelorette party. My best friend Vanessa had offered, but Claire insisted. "Let me do this for you," she'd said, her hand on my arm. "You're my baby sister. This is important." Vanessa, perceptive as always, had pulled me aside later. "I don't trust her, Liv." "Not this again," I'd groaned. Vanessa had never warmed to Claire, always claiming something felt off about her. "I'm serious. The way she looks at you sometimes. She's my sister. She loves me." "That's what worries me," Vanessa had muttered. But she'd let it drop. The months before the wedding should have been perfect. They weren't. Small things kept going wrong. The venue double-booked our date. Somehow the contract Claire had helped me review had the wrong date written in. My dress arrived 2 sizes too small because the order form had been changed. Ethan started receiving strange anonymous emails suggesting I had secret debt, that I'd been unfaithful during a trip to Boston I'd taken alone. "Someone's messing with us," Ethan said, showing me the emails. "This is insane. Who would do this?" I had no idea. The emails were untraceable, the incidents explainable as mistakes. When I mentioned them to Claire, she was appropriately outraged. "This is harassment," she'd declared. "You should go to the police." "It's probably just some spam bot or something," I'd said, not wanting to blow it out of proportion. But Ethan was shaken. He started asking questions, wanting to see my credit cards, my phone. The trust between us developed hairline cracks. "He doesn't believe me," I'd sobbed to Claire one night. "He actually thinks I might be hiding something." "Men can be so insecure," she'd soothed, rubbing my back. "Just be patient with him. Prove you have nothing to hide." At work, things were deteriorating too. I'd been up for a department head position, more responsibility, better pay. I didn't get it. Instead, it went to someone with half my experience. When I asked my principal why, she'd looked uncomfortable. "Olivia, there have been some concerns about your stability." "My what?" "Some staff members have mentioned mood swings, erratic behavior. I need to know you can handle the pressure of leadership." I was stunned. I'd never had a single disciplinary issue. "Who said that?" "I can't disclose that, but maybe this is for the best. Focus on your wedding, enjoy your classroom. Not everyone needs to be an administrator. I left her office feeling like the floor had shifted beneath me. That evening, Sophie, one of my favorite students who'd recently graduated and come back as a junior teacher, stopped by my classroom. Miss Olivia? She looked nervous, twisting her hands. Can I talk to you? Of course, Sophie. What's wrong? It's just, your sister came by last week. She said she was worried about you, that you'd been stressed. She asked if I'd noticed anything off. My blood went cold. Claire came here. She seemed really concerned. She said you had a history of mental health issues and she was worried about you handling wedding stress. Sophie's young face was earnest. I told her you seemed totally fine, but then she showed me some messages that seemed really erratic and I mentioned it to Mrs. Henderson. I'm sorry, I was just worried about you. Sophie? I kept my voice calm despite the rage building in my chest. I don't have any mental health issues, and I never sent any erratic messages. Someone is lying. Her eyes widened. But your sister is not who she seems. After Sophie left, I sat in my empty classroom, staring at construction paper turkeys my students had made for Thanksgiving. The pieces were starting to come together, forming a picture I didn't want to see. Claire. It had always been Claire, but I had no proof. Just suspicions and a growing sense of dread. The bachelorette party was 3 weeks before the wedding. Claire had planned everything. A wine tasting in the Hudson Valley, dinner at an upscale restaurant, dancing at a club in the city. Vanessa had wanted to plan it, but Claire had insisted so forcefully that I'd given in to keep the peace. It's going to be perfect, Claire promised. Just you, your closest friends, celebrating your last weeks as a single woman. The day started well enough. The wine tour was beautiful, the autumn leaves putting on a show of crimson and gold. But I noticed Claire on her phone constantly, texting someone. When I asked who, she smiled that smile. Just coordinating with the restaurant, making sure everything's perfect for you. At dinner, she stood to give a toast. To my beautiful baby sister, she said, raising her glass. You've always had this magical ability to make people fall in love with you. Ethan is lucky to have you. We all are. Everyone cheered. I felt tears prick my eyes. Maybe Vanessa was wrong. Maybe I'd been paranoid. This was my sister, celebrating me. Then Claire's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and something flickered across her face. Satisfaction. Triumph. Oh my God, she said, loud enough for the table to hear. Olivia, your phone is blowing up. You should check it. I pulled out my phone. 37 messages. Missed calls from Ethan, from my mom, from colleagues. My stomach dropped. What? Just look, Claire said, and there was something in her voice that made me look up sharply. But her face was all concern. I opened the messages. The first was from a number I didn't recognize, but the message contained screenshots, intimate conversations, text messages between me and someone named Jake, my ex-boyfriend from 5 years ago. Messages talking about meeting up, about how I'd always loved him, about how Ethan never needs to know. I never sent these, I whispered. What? Claire leaned over reading. Her gasp was perfectly calibrated. Olivia, oh my God, is this real? No. I haven't talked to Jake in years. I don't even have his number anymore. But more messages were coming in. Someone had sent the screenshots to everyone, friends, family, Ethan. My phone rang. Ethan. Ethan, listen. Is it true? His voice was cold, destroyed. Tell me it's not true. It's not. Someone faked these. I would never. They look real, Olivia. They have dates, timestamps, your phone number. Someone is setting me up. Who? Who would do this? The pain in his voice was unbearable. I trusted you. I was defending you against those emails, and now this? Ethan, please. He hung up. The table had gone silent. Everyone was staring at their phones, at me, at each other. Claire put her arm around me, and I had the strangest sensation, like a snake coiling around its prey. We need to get you home, she said softly. Let's get through this. I'm here for you. But Vanessa was staring at Claire with naked suspicion. How did these screenshots get sent to everyone? What do you mean? Claire asked. I mean, who had everyone's contact information? Who knew everyone who'd be important to Olivia? Vanessa, Claire started. You planned this party. You had all our numbers for the planning? Are you accusing me of something? Claire's voice went sharp. I'm just asking questions. My sister is in crisis, and you're starting conspiracy theories? Claire stood up. I think you should leave. I'm not going anywhere, Vanessa said flatly. The party dissolved into chaos. Half the women left whispering. Margaret, our neighbor who'd been invited, was already on her phone. I could imagine the news spreading through Westchester like wildfire. Sophie was crying. Only Vanessa stayed close, her hand on my shoulder. We'll figure this out, she said. I promise you, Liv. We'll figure out who did this. But I already knew. In my bones, in my breaking heart, I knew. The next 3 days were hell. Ethan wouldn't see me. He'd moved out of our apartment, canceled the wedding venue. My parents were bewildered, hurt, not knowing who to believe. People at school whispered when I walked by. The principal called me in for a meeting about my conduct. Claire came by every day, bringing food I couldn't eat, tissues for tears that wouldn't stop. We'll get through this, she kept saying. I'm here. And every time she said it, I felt sicker. On the 4th day, I was cleaning out my apartment. Ethan wanted his things, wanted to officially end the lease. I was numb, moving mechanically, when I knocked over a box of old files from the back of our closet. Papers spilled everywhere. Bills, old birthday cards, a folder of correspondence from my job application 3 years ago, and an email printout I'd never seen before. It was from Claire's work email to an address I didn't recognize. The date was 3 months ago, right when the anonymous messages to Ethan had started. Derek, here's the info you need. Make sure the emails look authentic, nothing traceable. Small amounts on the credit cards, nothing she'd notice. And space them out. We need it to look like a pattern. Derek, Claire's colleague, the one she'd mentioned a few times who was so good with tech stuff. My hands shook as I pulled out my laptop. I searched through old emails, looking for anything from Claire with attachments. There, one from 2 years ago, when she'd helped me with my resume. I opened the metadata. The file had been created and modified from her IP address. But that wasn't what made me stop breathing. In the revision history, I could see deleted text, sentences she'd removed from my resume before I sent it, skills and accomplishments, strategic deletions that made me look less qualified. I opened another email, the one confirming my venue booking. She'd helped with that too. The metadata showed she'd accessed the document 6 times after I'd sent it, including the day before the venue called about the date conflict. I spent hours going through everything Claire had ever helped me with. Every document, every email, every piece of advice. And in each one, I found evidence of sabotage. Subtle changes, strategic deletions, planted mistakes. My sister had been destroying my life systematically for years. The fake conversation with Jake had been the culmination. But it was just one piece of a long, patient campaign to ensure I would never have anything she didn't have first. Never be happier, never be more successful, never be more loved. I called Vanessa. I need your help, and we need to talk to Derek. Finding Derek was easier than I expected. Vanessa had connections through her work, and Derek was listed in Claire's company directory. We showed up at his apartment unannounced. He took one look at me and sagged. She said you'd probably figure it out. You helped her, I said quietly. You helped her fake those messages. He ran a hand through his hair. Look, I thought I was helping her. Claire made it sound like you'd stolen her boyfriend years ago, that you'd always gotten everything handed to you while she worked herself to death. She said she just wanted to even the playing field? Even the playing field, I repeated. By destroying my reputation, my relationship, my career? I didn't know it had gone that far. I helped with some tech stuff. The fake conversations, some fake emails. She said it was just to make you appreciate what you had. He looked miserable. I'm sorry, I should have known better. You need to tell Ethan, Vanessa said firmly. Everything. Derek nodded slowly. Yeah, I do. 2 days later, I sat across from Ethan at a quiet coffee shop. Derek had already talked to him, shown him evidence of the manipulated screenshots, explained Claire's involvement. Ethan looked like he hadn't slept in days. I'm so sorry, he said, his voice hoarse. I should have trusted you. I should have known you'd never. She was convincing, I said. She had evidence. She's been planning this for a long time. But why? You're sisters. That's exactly why. I stirred my untouched coffee. She resented me. Everything I had, she wanted. And if she couldn't have it, she'd make sure I couldn't either. What are you gonna do? I looked at him, this man I'd almost married, almost lost. I'm going to confront her. Will you come with me? He reached across the table and took my hand. Whatever you need. Claire's house was perfect, like everything about her public persona. Pristine white walls, designer furniture, fresh flowers, and crystal vases. Vanessa, Ethan, and I stood on her doorstep. I had a folder full of evidence tucked under my arm. She answered the door in silk loungewear, her face arranged in surprise. Liv, what are you all? We need to talk, I said, and walked past her into her living room. She followed, and I saw the calculation in her eyes. She was already preparing her defense, her explanations. But she didn't know what I knew. Claire, I said, sitting down on her expensive couch. I know everything. She laughed lightly. Everything? That's pretty dramatic. Listen, if this is about Ethan, I've been wanting to talk to you. I have some ideas about couples counseling. Derek confessed. The blood drained from her face, just for a moment before her mask slammed back into place. Derek? What is he? He told us about the fake messages, the fake emails, how you had him help you catfish me and Ethan for months. I opened my folder. I also have these. Metadata showing you sabotaged my resume, my venue booking, my job application. Emails to Margaret where you planted seeds about my instability. Messages to Sophie questioning my mental health. Claire was very still. Then she smiled, and it was terrible. You can't prove any of that. Actually, I can. Digital footprints don't lie. I stood up. But that's not why I'm here. I need to understand why. Why would you do this to me? You really don't know? Claire's voice was sharp now, all pretense dropping away. You really don't see it? See what? How easy everything is for you, she was shouting now, years of resentment pouring out. You just smile and people fall over themselves to help you. You just exist, and you get job offers, marriage proposals, friendship, love. Do you know how hard I've worked? How many hours? How many sacrifices? And you just paint your little pictures and everyone thinks you're wonderful. So you tried to destroy me? I tried to even things out. You were going to marry Ethan. Perfect, brilliant Ethan who should have been mine. Should have noticed me. But no, he saw you at some gallery opening and that was it. Done. Decided. Just like everything in your life. Ethan was never yours, Ethan said quietly. He could have been, if she wasn't always there, being so effortlessly perfect. I'm not perfect, I interrupted. I struggle. I work hard. I've had my heart broken and my dreams deferred. The difference is I didn't blame you for it. That's because you never had to, Claire spat. You never had to watch someone else get everything you wanted. You never had to be the smart one, the accomplished one, and still be invisible because your sister is just so damn charming. The room fell silent. I looked at this woman who shared my DNA, my childhood, my last name, and I felt nothing but sadness. I loved you, I said softly. I trusted you completely. And you used that to hurt me in ways I'm still discovering. Liv, for the first time, Claire looked uncertain. I'm not going to press charges. I'm not going to tell Mom and Dad everything. But we're done. You're not invited to my wedding, assuming Ethan still wants to marry me? I glanced at him and he nodded firmly. You're not welcome in my life, and everyone you manipulated, Margaret, Sophie, Derek, my colleagues, they all know the truth now. You can't just, yes, I can. Because unlike you, Claire, I'm not going to waste my energy on revenge. I'm going to rebuild my life, my career, my relationships, without you. I walked toward the door. Vanessa and Ethan followed. Wait, Claire called out. She looked smaller suddenly, desperate. I'm your sister. I turned back one last time. No, a sister protects you, supports you, celebrates your joy. You're just someone who happens to share my blood. And that's not enough anymore. We left her standing in her perfect living room, in her perfect house, with her perfect life that was about to crumble. Derek had already resigned from the company and was cooperating with HR about Claire's ethical violations. Margaret, horrified by her unwitting role, had started correcting the record at every social event, her influence spreading the truth as quickly as she'd spread the lies. Sophie had gone to the principal with her story, and my reputation at school was being restored. Most importantly, Ethan and I were in counseling, rebuilding trust brick by brick. 3 months later, I heard through the grapevine that Claire had been demoted at work. Her colleagues had started to distrust her, seeing patterns they'd missed before. She'd moved to a smaller apartment, stopped attending social events. She'd become, in essence, invisible. I didn't feel triumphant. I just felt free. 6 months after that, Ethan and I got married in a small ceremony in our apartment, with Vanessa as my maid of honor and only our closest friends in attendance. No drama, no sabotage, no elaborate plans. Just two people who'd chosen to trust each other, who'd survived a storm and come out stronger. As I said my vows, I realized something. Claire had been wrong about everything being easy for me. Nothing worth having is easy. But love, real love, isn't about luck or charm or effortless perfection. It's about choosing each other, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. And that's something Claire would never understand. I heard she tried to make a public apology at a charity gala last month. Showed up uninvited. Tried to give a speech about sisterhood and forgiveness. But everyone saw through it. Another performance, another attempt to reclaim her image. I wasn't there. I was home with Ethan, planning our kitchen renovation, arguing happily about cabinet colors, living my life. Not perfectly, not effortlessly, but authentically. And that, I realized, was all that ever mattered. Sometimes I wonder if Claire thinks about me, about what she lost. If she understands that the envy that drove her to destroy me ultimately destroyed her instead. But mostly, I don't wonder at all. I'm too busy being happy. And this time, no one can take that away.